All right. Hey, good to have you back. This is a follow-up on the lesson that we did with the C major scale and explaining, how a major scale works and how scales are expressed on the guitar fretboard. So a major scale is a tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone scale. That's what a major scale is. It's a set of distances, right? Don't worry about keys. Don't worry about, fingerings and all that, stuff. Keep it simple. Tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. If you start a scale on an E note and do tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, you're going to end up with an E major scale. If you do the same system of distances, starting on a different note, an A, for instance, would be an A major scale. A D would be, from a D would be D major scale, and so on, right? So each scale has its own, tonal center, despite the fact that they all are identical. Every major scale is identical. The only difference is they start on a different note. All right. Now you may ask, well, what about A major has three sharps and B flat major has two flats, and well, it doesn't matter. It's just it's that system is designed to explain, to try to that's a language that tries to explain how things work, and it actually can get a little bit complicated. So it's just tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Those are major scales. All right. So now what we want to do is take the C major scale and express it across the entire fretboard. And we're going to fill up the fretboard with vertical positions of C major scales. You've got to know this because these major scales turn into all the other major scales, right? The same fingerings will be used for D major and F major and E major and D flat major and whatever. And the same thing goes for the modes, right? So this is stuff you've got to just absolutely implant in your fingers and in your brain if you want to make sense out of this lovely instrument. Okay, so first position, C major scale. Okay, and there it is, right in front of us. It's this one has no stretches and nothing, nothing too difficult. And in open position, we call this. You can call it first position or open position, and also always finish the scale with your tonal chord, your one chord at the very least. Okay, and now we're going to move to position two. Now you see how position two, all we do is move up, to the second position with our first finger, and then the our four fingers are going to fall up between fret two to fret five, and here's the scale. Okay, and you'll notice I made a shift because I have to in order, those shifts very often happen on the second string because of the tuning. Shift. And then I have to shift back with my baby finger because it's always identical fingering, ascending and descending. And then we'll want to finish off with our tonal one chord, right? So what we're building here is a system of practice that builds an understanding of the entire fretboard. And then here we have C major scale in fifth position. You can hear it's just the same, right? The same notes. The guitar is a little unusual in that sense. Listen. So I just played the C major scale in exactly the same pitches in 3 different places. Try to do that on the piano. All right, now, yeah. So there was C major, and and my 1 chord, which is sort of built on a G. I mean a G, open position chord. And then I have another C major starting on the same root, except this time I'm moving up to 7th position, like so. You can see that I'm working my way up the fretboard. This is a nice, easy position. There's no stretches, no shifts. Here we have. You get the idea. All right, so there's C major with its root, and that was in 7th position. So we've gone through open position or first position, second position, 5th position, and 7th position. You may say, well, why didn't you do 3rd position or why didn't you do 4th position? Well, because the way the notes fall on the fretboard, it's not natural. It's just there are hybrid type positions which you can do. But these are the most essential ones here that we're covering. There's 5 in total. Here comes number 5, and we're at on the 9th fret, and playing it at the octave, the C at the octave, starting at C at octave higher. And this has 2 shifts. Let's go through those shifts. Shift to 10 with your first finger. This is in 10th position, and then I shift back with my baby finger, back, pushing my hand back to 9th position. Right, in my 1 chord. All right. And then finally, we'll have a repeat of the first fingering, or the first pattern we played, if you like, here at the 12th double dot. Let's do that again. Okay, and the chord would be. All right. So that fills up the entire fretboard with vertical scale positions, obviously meaning, up and down like this, right? I'm not crossing the fretboard. Now, when you move further ahead, you will have lots of opportunity to play these things with these scale forms with shifts, and so for instance, if I take this, the first one like this, I can just change to 2nd position and then to 5th. And now I've got a full 2-octave scale. There's lots of different routes I can take across the entire fretboard, crossing through vertical scale positions. That's the way to look at it. So speaking of that's the way to look at it, you start by understanding that a major scale is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone scale. It's a set of distances. Those sets of distances, when they are expressed from a given tonal center, in this case C or tonic, they will be spread. Those notes will be spread all over the fretboard like this. As you can see, there are some semitones and tones, right? from C to D, tone, D to E, tone, E to F, semitone, F to G, tone, G to A, tone, A to B, tone, and B to C, semitone. It's always going to be in exactly that same grid of distances across the entire fretboard. Okay, so I hope that that's a help to you. You'll never learn anything too much more important than this. I mean, it's the way our instrument works. For those of you who have heard guys saying, yeah, you don't have to play scales, you just have to feel it, or oh, forget scales, man, I just play these awesome lines, just flow out of me or something. Yeah, well, I call, I'm, I won't say it, but no, that's not the way it works. The scales come from nature. They come from acoustical physics. And so if you think you're beyond that, like, go ahead, start your own system of music. But in the real world, the planet that has physics as a platform from which we can understand the numerical systems, of which music is the most elegant and beautiful. The least you can do is sort of learn it. And yeah, and remember that the modes are an expression of the major scale is really the Ionian mode, and the other modes, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian, will be right in here, right what you're looking at here. It's just a different way of looking at it. This has been a language that has been developed over hundreds and hundreds of years, and it behooves you to learn it. All right, and especially all over the fretboard, which is the study of fretboard mechanics. You want to learn how this fretboard makes sense, and I think this book makes sense of the fretboard. I wrote it, so I really like it, and I know that it has helped a lot of players make sense out of their fretboard, and make sense out of how theory and harmony are expressed on this polyphonic instrument that we have in our lap. All right, thanks for dropping by. If this was a help to you, click subscribe, click like. If you have any questions or comments, we'd like to hear those too, because it helps us in terms of direction. So good, great. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you again real soon.